Hey guys, my name is Donnie and welcome back to my channel. Guys, as you know, last week I've been working on the Messerschmitt and this week I'm gonna continue on that car. But over the weekend I was speaking with some people about the projects that I'm doing and their projects and so on. And we got to talking about how some projects just never get done. And I thought maybe I'd make a quick video to tell you guys what my opinions are about not finishing project cars, and also maybe just give you some advice that I've been using to finish these types of projects. Now guys, when you're starting with a new project, the first thing is that you have obviously made the decision to start a new restoration or a modification or a car that you're gonna build. Now there's not much that I can say about that because obviously you have made up your mind exactly what you want. But if I could give you my 2 cents, I would say that if you're starting a new project or it's going to be your first restoration job, try something small first, guys. I'm telling you now, it becomes daunting. It is hard. Don't go out and buy that very expensive Mustang or something crazy that you really want to restore one day to absolute perfection and never have done some sanding on a motorcycle's gas tank or something like that before. Get yourself a smaller project and really just give it a go, because honestly this is not for everyone. There's a lot of hard work and very dirty and uncomfortable work that you have to do if you're going to do a restoration. Now if you've gotten your car or your project or whatever you're gonna do, it is super important that you start your planning, because I've seen it so many times that people buy a car and they've got all these admirations. They're going to be restoring this thing to look better than anyone has ever done before, and they start taking the car apart, and a couple of years later I'm the guy that goes and buys that project because it never got finished. I've seen it many times and I've bought many a bargain that way. So do your planning first. Buy your car, get it in your workshop, in your garage, in your shed, because after you've taken the car apart, I've seen so many cars or projects die because it just becomes a huge project when all of those little parts are laying all over your workshop and you start realizing the magnitude of the project. So do your planning and also make a list of everything that you're going to do, and that list is going to grow, but at least it'll give you a sense of where you are and where you need to get to and how far you are on that road trip. Another thing is make yourself some milestones. I love doing that for myself. I've got milestones as, like for instance, getting the car painted, or starting the engine, or taking it out for its first drive, or just small things like bleeding the brakes or getting the windows to go up and down. Those milestones really help get a project moving and continuously going on. And also guys, just remember, it is the journey, not the destination so much on a restoration. If you're only worried about the destination, just go out and buy yourself a car that's already done. Restoring cars is about the journey, but at the end of the day you really want to get there at some point. Another thing that is important is to be willing to compromise. Guys, this is something that I've seen so many times that people do. They start a project, they take it apart, and I remember now, I once bought a project car from someone. The guy hadn't hardly ever started with the job because he was looking for the right engine mounts for that car, and he never ever gotten around to restoring that vehicle because he was always looking for the exact engine mounts. I bought it, got it for a steal, put the whole car together, restored it completely, and used the old engine mounts for the time being. And many years later I gotten hold of the right engine mounts and I just replaced the old ones with the new ones, and that car was perfect. So it's very important to be willing to compromise. Remember, you can always take off a part that is not exactly what it needs to be and replace it with the exact one. but don't stop your project just because you're not willing to compromise. I'm not talking about stuff like paint and bodywork and so on, because those things cannot be changed afterwards. But if it's something that you can bolt off or replace and you cannot get a hold of it, don't let your project stand still just because of that. Another thing that also really helps with these projects is outsourcing some of the work that needs to be done, especially the tough stuff and the stuff that are not so nice to do, like bodywork and painting. That is really not fun. And if you're going to be doing this part-time in your garage, I really would suggest that you put into your budget someone that's going to paint and panel beat your car for you. I mean, you can do some of the rust removal and so on, but get someone that can put a nice coat of primer on there and just some Bondo and fix up the paintwork nicely. And on that note, guys, if you get someone to do it, remember they are doing it not for the love of your project so much, but it's their business and they need to make profit off of it. So they'll never be as invested in your car as you are. So obviously when they do it, it might not be exactly what you are looking for or exactly what you were wanting. But guys, let me tell you, if the job is done well, it is good enough. You cannot expect absolute perfection from someone, except for if you're willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for them to do the work. If it is good enough, it is good enough. I really feel strongly about that, because I've had so many people that are truly anal because they want something that is better than a BMW off the showroom floor, but they're not willing to pay that BMW off the showroom floor's price. So get someone to help you, outsource some of your work, get your engine rebuilt, gearbox rebuilt. I mean, don't let them screw you over, but if the job is done okay, that should be good enough. Another thing is that you need to stay motivated. I stay motivated by making these videos for you guys. It really helps me to, on a weekly basis, make sure that I've gotten some progress done and that I get the videos out and that I keep my projects running. Another option would be to join a Facebook group of people that are like-minded, have the same ideas. It really helps to speak to them and look at their projects and share your projects and your questions with those people that are like-minded, and it'll help you stay motivated. But guys, at the end of the day, the big thing is that you must just keep on keeping on. I've seen so many projects die, and which is so sad, because people just lost motivation and they decided that they didn't want to continue with it, which is all fine and dandy. But I mean, at the end of the day, you got the project and you really wanted to do it in the beginning, and for some reason, somewhere along the line, you forgot why, or you've lost motivation to do the project. And it's really important to just always keep remembering what your plan was in the beginning, and that is why it is so important to have a decision made in the beginning of the project and have your plan and your idea all laid out. And obviously that is going to change a lot, because project costs never stay what they seem to. In the beginning it always changes. It's always harder, always, than it looked like in the beginning. But keep making a list of everything. Don't over budget. That is something that's happened so many times before. Obviously this is an emotional decision, not a financial decision, but you don't want to over budget. You don't want to build a car that you could have gone and bought 5 new ones for the price of that one. So keep your budget in mind and be willing to compromise and be willing to outsource some of the work and not be too anal about the results. If you get your car finished, that is a win in my book. And really, I take my hat off to anyone and everyone that has ever finished project cars part-time, because like I said, I'm in a privileged position where I work on these things every single day. And if I was to do a project only on weekends and only in the evenings, I would probably have had many projects that had failed before. So kudos to you guys that get it done. And like I said, just keep on keeping on until it's done.